Bionomia was launched in 2018 and rebranded in 2020. Its goal is to connect collectors and determiners to their specimens in a machine-readable way. As a global community, we've become proficient at turning semi-structured text statements like what, where, and when into computationally useful content. But what about the who? If we wish to link bee collectors to their specimens, we have to do this at scale. We have the standards to do this through terms recorded by and identified by two bedrock components that have been featured in the Darwin Core standard from its inception. And we have the infrastructure to do this through the Global Biodiversity Information Facility. But if you examine the textual representation of people names in records shared with GBIF, we appear to have a problem. Somewhat like scientific names, searching, parsing, and linking is at once simple and massively complex. But instead of unifying people names across all collections, let's tackle this problem by layering on a shared concept using unique identifiers. And if we're lucky, maybe this will facilitate data discovery, data quality improvements, exchange, and outreach. But let's not invent a whole new unique identifier system for people. Let's use identifiers that are open, verifiable, and already embedded into the social, scientific, and technical landscape. Let's use Wikidata Q number for the deceased and ORCID IDs for the living. There are 4 basic steps in Bionomia. Log in using your ORCID ID, visit the Specimens tab in your profile, claim your specimen records singly or in bulk, and then once comfortable with the interface, attribute specimen records to others you revere or admire. There's little to no typing, putting full trust in your small actions that frequently result in an outsized effect. The interface is simple, with buttons to make your declarations. And if you go through the effort of doing this on your own specimen records, you may optionally push an archive to a repository, receive a DataCite DOI in return, and have that appear alongside your affiliations and publications in ORCID, and then use it to pad your CV. These links between collector and specimen should come to rest at the source and close a loop. Staff at collections may evaluate these contributions, dependent in part on what software systems they use and their local technical support. Zipped up CSV files in a format called frictionless data give them an opportunity to pick and choose some of these outputs, with the eventual aim of sharing these identifiers for people back out into the global community through 2 relatively new terms in Darwin Core called recorded by ID and identified by ID as that layer on top of recorded by and identified by. So we can think of Bionomia as a facilitator of this transformation. Bionomia has openly licensed code to parse people names and an application programming interface to access the links between people, their unique identifiers, and their specimen records. I recommend that you capture near verbatim people names and avoid drop-down menus and lookup lists that tend to introduce bias. Get an ORCID ID if you don't already have one. Add some identifying features like a publication or your affiliation, and then use it when you deposit specimens in a collection. Use a Wikidata Q number for the deceased. And finally, share these via Darwin Core. This will help make people names computationally useful.